Drake has made his fair share of petty moves during his beef with Kendrick Lamar, but this one might just take the crown. It seems like he has thrown in the towel when it comes going toe-to-toe with Kendrick after his pride took a massive hit. But the interesting thing is, while the diss may have stung, what's really keeping Drake up at night is how the loss to Kendrick is messing with his money in ways he never imagined. But these latest steps he took are as hilarious as they are embarrassing. If you haven't heard, Drake just filed a petition against Kendrick and UMG, the label they're both signed to, mind you, accusing them of artificially inflating streams for hip-hop's anthem of the year, Not Like Us. Y'all know this song by K-Dot was a diss track cooked specially for Drizzy, but turned out to be a global sensation. Stick around because there's so much to unpack in this lawsuit, and many of the fine details will absolutely blow your mind. The first interesting thing you'd notice immediately from this lawsuit is that Drake has finally accepted his L, albeit ungracefully. The rapper seemed to be coming to terms with the fact that this beef with Kendrick didn't just bruise his ego, it's wrecking his wallet in ways he never imagined. Drizzy didn't realize that the fallout from this beef, especially the loss of his position as #1 in hip-hop, was going to be this brutal. The rapper himself alluded to this in his lawsuit, claiming that Not Like Us has resulted in a direct decline in his revenue, a trend that's only worsened as the song continues to dominate. Now, let's be real. K-Dot didn't just out-rap Drizzy. He shattered his reputation as a rapper and left his once glorified brand in pieces. When Kendrick said, "I just strangled me a goat" on his latest album GNX, the message felt a little bit vague initially, but now it's clearer than ever. Kendrick is living rent-free in Drake's head, and it's not looking like he's leaving anytime soon. Rap beefs are nothing new in hip-hop. We've seen plenty of winners and losers, but filling a lawsuit after a lyrical breakdown, well, that's a whole new level of bad sportsmanship. For someone who's always boasted about being one of the greatest, this move feels like a glaring admission to defeat. Honestly, it might go down as the worst decision in Drake's career, which says a lot about how embarrassing this lawsuit could become. But before we break down what Drake is really trying to achieve here, make sure to hit that subscribe button and leave a like on this video. It goes a long way. Hip-hop has seen its fair share of rap beefs, some iconic, others forgettable. But Drake filing a lawsuit after getting lyrically bodied, well, that's a new one. It screams bad sportsmanship and shows just how much this loss stung. For someone who's always positioned himself as one of the best to ever do it, this is a terrible way to wave the white flag. In fact, it might go down as one of the most embarrassing moves of his entire career, and let's be honest, this lawsuit saga could get even messier. Sometimes you have to wonder about Drake's decision-making and the people in his corner. Does no one have the guts to tell him the hard truths? Because it feels like his team just blindly supports whatever choice he makes, whether it's a hit or a total miss. And when you take a closer look at the lawsuit Drake filed against Kendrick, UMG, and Spotify, it gets even wilder. According to the documents, Drake claims his label is out to ruin him, and he's accusing Spotify of being in on the plot. But the real kicker is that he alleges Kendrick, who's also signed to the same label, knew all about this so-called artificial streaming and decided to roll with it anyway. Drake's intentions with this lawsuit are crystal clear, even without reading the fine print of this document. He's trying to sway public opinion by framing Kendrick in a negative light. The hope is that fans will start questioning K-Dot's integrity if he's tied to something like artificial streaming or bot farming. But here's the ironic part. Drake's pulling this move while suing the same label that handed him a jaw-dropping $400 million contract, a deal that puts him in the industry's top 5 earners and cements his position as one of UMG's crown jewels, alongside Taylor Swift. Drake claiming his own label is trying to destroy him is a tough pill to swallow. What does UMG stand to gain from sabotaging their second biggest cash cow? Drake's accusations against streaming platforms add another strange twist to this lawsuit. Think about it. Why would a platform that benefits massively from Drake's catalog want to sabotage him? That's just bad business. Drake is one of the most streamed artists in the world, a consistent hit maker who delivers at least one major project every year. Streaming platforms thrive on artists like him because his consistency with his music aligns perfectly with their algorithms and revenue models. Plus, let's not forget about how these same platforms plastered his face on hundreds of billboards during his beef with Kendrick. How does it make sense that they're suddenly out to get him? This entire move by Drake feels so sketchy, riddled with gaping holes that are impossible to ignore. It's clear all Drake is trying to do here is rewrite the narrative of his fallout with Kendrick. He's desperate for some positive attention, and since nothing else has worked, it seems like he's swinging for the fences with this lawsuit. Filing these claims without solid evidence just to allegedly derail Kendrick's momentum is as bold as it is confusing. Deep down, Drake probably knows that catching up with Kendrick, especially at this pace, might be an impossible task. Unsurprisingly, this lawsuit has sparked heated debates online. Fans and industry insiders have been clowning Drake for what many see as a bizarre move. Many of Kendrick's collaborators, including DJ Mustard and members of TDE, have already reacted to the news, poking fun at Drake's allegations. It almost feels like Drake is trying to manipulate his own fanbase, painting himself as the victim to gain sympathy. He's banking on people buying into the idea that he's been wronged, hoping to shift the momentum back in his favor. And let's not forget the media personalities who were rooting for him during this beef. DJ Academics, for example, went all out to champion Drake, hyping him up while dragging his rivals, especially Kendrick. This is why fans are surprised by this victim narrative Drake is trying to push. Everything Kendrick described about Drake's personalities in his songs is starting to feel weirdly accurate. We're witnessing Drake in full manipulator mode, desperate and seemingly willing to do anything to salvage his brand image. The way he's handling this loss against Kendrick is almost ironic, considering his own history of crushing opponents in rap beefs. Remember how he destroyed Meek Mill? That wasn't just a win, it was a victory lap of epic proportions. Drake clowned Meek every chance he got, from his concerts to live TV appearances like Saturday Night Live. And who could forget back to back? That diss track not only ended the beef, but even earned a Grammy nomination, just like Kendrick's Not Like Us. Now that the tables have turned and Drake's the one taking the L, he seems unable to handle it, even though Kendrick delivered a clean knockout. After exhausting all his moves against K-Dot and failing to land a single blow, Drake's strategy has shifted. He's targeting the same people and systems that have supported his career, accusing them of things they've likely done for him as well. So let's be real, Drake isn't trying to expose any dark truths about the industry. He's stirring the pot for selfish reasons while hiding behind the guise of doing it for the greater good. The fact that Drake is attacking the same label he is signed to says a lot about his character. If anything, this shows how little he values loyalty and how focused he is on himself. It's naive to think that the same tactics he's accusing them of using for Kendrick weren't also used to boost his own career. Drake's lawsuit feels less like a crusade for justice and more like a desperate attempt to rewrite the narrative. Unsurprisingly, hip-hop fans are expressing their disappointment with the whole drama surrounding the lawsuit. Many believe Drake should have just taken the L gracefully and moved on with his career. But he seems unable to accept the idea of Kendrick holding the #1 spot in the game. Now, over the years, plenty of rappers have suffered heavy losses in rap beefs, some never recovering, but none have pulled a stunt like this. Drake's actions are making Ja Rule look tough and respectable by comparison, given how Ja handled his career-ending beef. At the end of the day, Drake is doing exactly what he set out to do: convince his core fan base that he's the victim. It's a calculated move to keep his loyal followers in his corner, even if the rest of the world sees right through the act. While Drake's core fans are still clinging to his narratives, the numbers don't lie. The overall drop in his streams and revenue clearly shows that hip-hop fans are growing tired of his antics. Drake once prided himself on being the go-to artist for chart-topping hits, but the tide has shifted drastically. He's no longer dominating the charts, while Kendrick is thriving, taking over the hip-hop scene the way Drake used to. Every song Drake has dropped or featured on this year has underperformed by his standards, a clear consequence of getting roasted in a rap beef he initiated. Drake knows he still has diehard fans who will support him unconditionally, but weaponizing that loyalty to push a false narrative about fighting for the greater good won't save him in the long run. In reality, it only highlights how out of touch he's become. Meanwhile, Kendrick is bringing hip-hop back to its roots, raw, authentic, and unfiltered. In contrast, Drake seems to have embraced the role of the supervillain, intent on tearing down all the good things K-Dot has done. Sure, losing the metaphorical throne after taking a lyrical beatdown must really sting, but dragging Kendrick's name and even record labels into this mess feels desperate. Drake's accusations of stream farming aimed at discrediting Kendrick haven't gained traction, which isn't a surprise considering everything Kendrick has achieved. Instead, they've become a punchline in the hip-hop community, with fans and peers alike clowning him for his futile attempt to dim Kendrick's shine. What Drake doesn't seem to grasp is that Kendrick's dominance this year is unshakable, and accusations of stream farming wouldn't make a dent. From his groundbreaking live performances to his genre-defining projects, Kendrick's impact has been nothing short of historic. Trying to tarnish that legacy with baseless claims of inauthenticity is as petty as it is ineffective. Historically, rappers have accepted their losses and beefs no matter how brutal. Think back to Nas's Ether, a diss track that obliterated Jay-Z at the height of their rivalry. While Jay took the L, he never stooped to the level of lashing out the way Drake has. Jay understood that retaliating in such a way would go against the true essence of hip-hop, a genre built on fierce competition and resilience. The only way you keep your throne in this industry is to be savage, fierce, and a great fighter. Many attributes Drake lacked. Kendrick Lamar, on the other hand, is embodying everything that hip-hop should be. From his incredible pop-out concert to taking the genre all the way to the Super Bowl, and also putting so many talented upcoming rappers on the map, K-Dot has arguably done more for the industry than Drake ever did when he was on top. He's proving that real leadership isn't about clinging to the throne, it's about lifting the genre to greater heights. Drake using a lawsuit to rewrite the outcome of a beef he voluntarily jumped into says everything about his current state of mind. It's a glaring reflection of how far he's fallen. Instead of gracefully accepting defeat, he's sinking deeper with every move, and this legal stunt might be his lowest point yet. There's no doubt coming back from this is going to be very difficult. Trying to strip hip-hop of its competitive spirit and authenticity isn't just a bad look, it's a blatant misstep by Drake. This might go down as one of the most embarrassing responses to losing a rap beef in hip-hop history. While Drake is cementing his name in the history books, it's unfortunately for all the wrong reasons. It's wild to think about how quickly the tides have turned. From being at the center of the culture, Drake now finds himself on the outside looking in, with much of the respect he once commanded slipping away. He's always been versatile though, so there's no doubt he can ply his trade in different genres if this one doesn't work out anymore. Now we want to hear from you. What do you think about Drake's lawsuit? Do you really believe the impact of Not Like Us is artificial despite its undeniable dominance this year? Let us know in the comments section below. This situation between Drake, Kendrick, and UMG is evolving fast, and it feels like it could explode at any moment. So be sure to subscribe to the channel and stay tuned for our updates, so hit that notification icon so that way you can follow along as this drama unfolds. If you enjoyed this content, don't forget to hit the like button. It helps us bring you more of the stories you enjoy. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.